Hi, Echo.Church. Today in our devotion, we're talking about asking God to show us how to see others in the way that God sees them. In Genesis 1:27, we are reminded that we are all made in God's own image, male and female, made in God's image. And God shows us that He treats us with dignity in the story of Jesus and the woman at the well in Samaria. If you'll recall in the story, Jesus on purpose walked into Samaria, which was a place that was often avoided, and He also sat and spoke with a woman at a well who was alone. And Jesus's followers, if you'll remember, were scratching their own heads and thinking, why is He doing this? Because he was doing something very shameful. Women at the time were considered property of men, and women were not allowed to seek divorce. And she had been divorced multiple times, which tells us that she had been abandoned by multiple men. And yet Jesus goes to her on purpose, sits with her, sits in a moment that is looking shameful on Him, and shows her dignity and respect by not just beginning with teaching, but listening deeply to who she was. Even though He already knew everything she was going to say, He showed her care and concern by listening deeply to who she was and then telling her the very best news anyone could ever be told. It was such good news that she went and told everyone in her village. Because when you're treated with dignity and respect in this way, you want everybody to know when you've been so shamed. Jesus is a God who walks through shame to restore our honor. And it's the way we see people through His eyes that really transforms us as well. So as you're praying today, I would ask you to pray and ask a couple of questions as you sit quietly before God in your devotional time. One is, do you ever think about how God sees those around you? And consider for a moment those especially who are hard to love. Maybe those you dislike or fear or even just ignore. And reflect on the fact that those people, those hardest to love people, are also made in God's image and are called children of God, and they probably don't even know it. And you have the opportunity to tell them this very, very good news. And I would also ask you to ask yourself today if there is any way where you are seeing yourself as superior and you are exercising your dominion in a way that puts yourself in a position at the expense of others. Because when we do that and we become oppressors of others, we are actually walking in the opposite direction of the likeness of God. And we want to walk toward Jesus instead of away from Jesus. So sit and reflect on that today. And it may turn out that there is someone that you need to forgive, someone who knows that they have hurt you, or maybe they don't even know. But if that is the case, I ask you today to consider asking God to forgive through you. And that may not end up being like a conversation between the two of you, but it's through the healing of Jesus as our healer, both physical and emotionally and spiritually, the ways that He heals us. And we see the healing that He brought that day to the Samaritan woman just by showing her dignity. So ask yourself if there is someone around you that you can show this kind of dignity to, and tell them the very good news that Jesus told this woman on that day. Have a great day, Echo.Church.